Hi there, everybody. Hope you are doing well with the fog. It was a little foggy here at 8 o'clock, 8:30 this morning. You know, kind of rolled in. I guess it rolled in from down south. Anyway, it was not too pleasant, but it was not so bad. So we're doing big things and big things from the mayor of Ridgeland and Little Women taking over a news stage. The only news, really, the stuff that makes the news is it's the old, how many people got shot? You know, these bad guys, that expression, can't we ever have anything nice? Yes, we can have them nice. But, you know, they have to wait. They waited till it was over with before, if you ask me, before they started shooting Saturday night after the parade. That's just so disgusting. You know, it's just really unacceptable. And I don't know, it's more than just having enough police around, although by that time the police probably figured, oh, well, the parade's over with, everything was safe and good. Well, Jackson is not, obviously, very safe and very good. But I've got Mayor Gene McGee in here from the city of Ridgeland. Everything's safe and good in Ridgeland, right there. Hi, welcome, by the way.
Well, welcome. Thank you for allowing me to be here today.
Well, you know, lucky you don't have any opposition for the mayor's race. How many terms is this going to be when you get sworn in again in July?
When I get sworn in, I'll be beginning my 10th term.
Wow. Have you seen some changes? Have we seen changes in Ridgeland? Because you were just this little tiny place.
Lots of changes.
Yes.
When I became mayor, there were about, I'd say, 1,500 to 2,000 people. Now we're about 26,000.
Wow.
And obviously we've had tremendous growth, not only in people moving there, but great commercial growth, some of the best restaurants and shopping areas in the state of Mississippi. So
yes.
It's a great place to be.
Well, it is, and it's impressive, I have to say. Do you consider competition? Do you consider like Flowood a competitor? Madison a competitor? Are they competitors, or you just do what you think, and y'all, obviously your citizens think you need to do in Ridgeland?
Well, we work together. Obviously, I don't consider Flowood or Madison competitors. I think that we have to look at what is best for the city of Ridgeland and work on those particular projects, and then the things we can do can also enhance the other cities. And so that's the way we look at it.
And you have to work with all the mayors around you, and including you have to work with Mayor of Jackson. So I'm sure you're looking at that election with interest. You're not endorsing anybody, I don't believe, are you?
Not publicly. We have people that we know, and I think that there are some good candidates that could do a good job for the city of Jackson. Obviously, we want our capital city to be represented by the best,
yep.
And I think that's so important. I can remember my grandfather was a pastor in Jackson. My grandmother lived on Poindexter Park. I had an office on Poindexter Park, and I hate that I've seen the change that has happened. I'd like to see our capital city do a turnaround and become a great city again.
Well, I think it can. You know, when I moved here years ago, I met Bert Case. I used to say, I can see Jackson going by way of Detroit. And he said, oh, no, that'll never happen. Because he grew up here. And you grew up in Mississippi. He said, oh, no, that can't happen. So that was in the early 80s. Well, then we married and moved out to the reservoir, being boat people and all that. And one Saturday, and of course he would go in every day to work downtown at WLBT. But one Saturday I asked him, would you mind going to this vacuum cleaner place? There was a vacuum cleaner place on Raymond Road, I guess it was, and get me something that I need for the vacuum cleaner. And because, like I said, he would go to work, but he wasn't doing a real estate tour, right? So when he came back, he said, you were right. I said, about what? He said, Jackson's going by way of Detroit. It was many years later. And see, he never really had a chance when he was working. He just, the story and all that kind of stuff. He didn't look at stuff. Just, very tunnel vision into the stories. And he saw that, and it really broke his heart. And it breaks so many people's heart, that Jackson has...
It does, because it's our capital city.
Yes, it's your capital city. But you know what, though? Detroit, it's my hometown, has made a comeback of sorts. I haven't been there in years now. But I understand it's doing well. So if they can do it, so can Jackson.
Absolutely.
So, and that'll just help everybody, So... I've got to say about I have to tell Lance, you have to know this too. The roller coaster. We call a couple of places where we have to drive roller coasters, like you know what I'm talking about. Lake Harbor, west of Pear Orchard. Well, we have one out by the reservoir. And Lance, you would probably use this on Hugh Ward.
Oh, I know it well. Yes,
it's in the left lane as you're going southbound. It was like, wow, it was really bad. I mean, you could really
riding a rough horse.
Well, you'll be glad to know that we have a construction project that is going to happen on Lake Harbor. It'll be completely built and overlaid, and those bad spots be taken out. And that project will be starting this year. Once we get through with the new
51
lanes that we're doing at 51.
Yeah, 51 at Harbor.
It'll be a little later on in the year because you have to go through certain certain processes because you're using some federal money and that sort of thing, and that takes a little time. But it's going to be nice. When I became mayor, it was a 2-lane road. So then we made it a 3-lane road. Then we made it a 5-lane road.
Yes.
And so now we're taking the 5-lane road and we're going to completely renovate it.
I was helicoptering when you were doing the 5-lane because we used to go over that all the time and talk about that. And I guess I would call your office. Well, what are you doing now? How's stuff going? That seems so long ago. But anyway, glad to know that roller coaster. And so the one at the Hugh Ward, now that'd be up to the county.
Well, that'd be up to the reservoir, I think, or the county, Rankin County.
It's outside of it's outside of the PRV, so it'd be the county. But anyway, but it's like another roller coaster.
Well, they've got it where they want to slow you folks down. See.
Well, listen, we don't. We have this thing that kills me. We have a Brandon mailing address, but we don't live in Brandon. It's because there had to be a zip code when the reservoir on the Rankin side was built and people building houses. But there are some people who are so dang stupid. They think we live in Brandon, and we don't. I challenge those people. Well, if you think you live in Brandon, well, then you just call up the city of Brandon and talk to the streets department and say, I'd like you to come and repave Vista Drive. And they'd be like, you don't live in Brandon. And you'd be like, well, what? Anyway, but we digress here. Congratulations on Top Golf. How's it doing? Probably
Top
really well.
Golf is doing well. I talked to their general manager, and the venue of this size is setting records nationwide.
Great.
People are having birthday parties there, business meeting parties there. You can go there for lunch, play a little Top Golf, and it's not that expensive to do that over your lunch hour. Time goes fast when you're doing that, but we're very excited about it, and then obviously excited about the other things that are going to happen around Top Golf over the next few years.
Yeah, I've talked. Well, we had the developer on a week or two before it opened up. Had him here on the show, and he said there's going to be a whole subdivision with a grocery store that he won't name. Well, we know it's not. That's right. you know who it is. I'm sure.
We can't name it yet. We're working with the real estate people, but obviously a grocery store. There's going to be some other office buildings, and
there's going to be a river walk in there.
It's right. The interesting thing is he had to have some detention to keep from flooding other areas, so he's making a river walk out of it, which is kind of neat, which we like. And there are going to be other things. It's really going to be a great thing for the city of Ridgeland. And then, of course, as you go down Howland County Parkway, Amazon Web Services is building 4 of their facilities right now.
Where on? I'd be lost.
If you go south on Howland County Parkway toward County Line Road, on the right, it was the old Costas property. And these data centers, there are 4 of them being built, but eventually AWS is planning on building 14 in Ridgeland, which is a big deal. Wow. They're investing right now $10.5 billion in Madison County, and a lot of that's in Ridgeland, Mississippi.
Is distribution? Is that what it's going to be?
No, it's actually their data centers, the cloud. Okay. And we understand that they'll even be keeping data information on the military, but it's all to do with data, and it's a very competitive thing. But we're very pleased that they've chosen to build those facilities in Ridgeland.
And how are they doing at the North Place at the
at Canton? They're building some up there. I'm not as familiar with how many they're building, but they're building some up there.
Yeah. The main one that they built, I remember had D.I. Smith on to talk about that, and I was wondering why they would not build near a railroad track or an airport. Well, they don't use those.
Well, there's 2 things. They've got the distribution center, which is Amazon, but that's nothing to do with their data center. No. So it's
Amazon is yours, though.
Yeah, well, it's both Amazon, but Amazon Web Services is a different division from Amazon that where you buy your packages and all those goodies that people do online.
Well, yes, it's a pretty slick operation because D.I. said that it was it's things that were the size of a bread box and smaller, and you would call whatever number, and you order a purse or something like that. And he said, I remember this takes 15 seconds for the robot to get it and put it in a box.
Well, it's amazing what they can do. You can order something today and it'll be there tomorrow night, which is phenomenal.
I think it's wonderful that Amazon likes Mississippi so much. By the way, everybody, this is Ridgeland's Mayor Gene McGee. You want to talk to him? He's at 888-8637. If you want to send him a note of some sort, you can text him at 601-879-4395 and watch at supertalk.fm/Mary. So I love this. What's going on at Renaissance? There's some big stuff going on out there, right?
Well, neat. Close to the Costco development, there's several new businesses that are under construction. Aldi Grocery is expected to open up in June or early July.
That's not Renaissance though.
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
It's Renaissance. It's Renaissance Phase 3. Yeah.
Ah.
And then this fall, November, you'll have TJ Maxx, Old Navy, I believe the Lazy Boy retail store and PetSmart. All of those will be opening up around November in that particular development.
And that's down by Costco.
That's down by Costco, back in the back, and there will be additional developments in the front of that, closer to Highland Colony Parkway.
On the other side of the street.
Right,
opposite.
and then in Phase 2 of the Renaissance up near the movie theater, I can't divulge the name right now, but there's going to be a big announcement in the area right across from the movie theater of a business that's going to be
the theater at Renaissance.
This is the Renaissance right across
the Renaissance, big Renaissance.
Yeah, the original. That's right. And so it'll be announcing soon. But
yeah, there's a lot of nice land out there.
Yeah, it's a great development, obviously. But we have 3 great shopping areas in Ridgeland. North Park still does great. Then you have the township and then the Renaissance.
Yes.
So all those are good.
Township, yeah, that is great too, and they're having the big festival pretty soon. And as a matter of fact, it's on the 5th of April. And by the way, that's a chance to promote the show because on Election Day, I thought, well, that'll be kind of fun because I talked with Raphael Sems and we talked about that,
right.
The Jazz Festival.
Well, Raphael's a great guy, and by the way, this is a good time for me to encourage people. We do have an election next Tuesday on the 1st, but it's only one ward, Ward 2, and so people need to be paying attention and get out to vote because it's probably going to be a very light vote.
Well, see, that's what I hate when people say that because and I saw something this morning. You would expect a light turnout.
Yeah.
Don't say that. I expect people to get off their behinds and vote. It's the one thing you can do. I think last time that I actually looked at it, last time the mayor was elected by 25%.
Well, when I ran for alderman first time, I actually tied. We had a tie, 92 to 92. So every vote is important.
Well, it is.
It's very important.
And this year so much so. So this is all District 1. Who's running?
Well, Chuck Gauthier and a lady named Pat Truesdale. Chuck Gauthier is the incumbent, and then Pat Truesdale is running as a lady. But
for people who are listening to all over the area, you need to get out and vote.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. It's one thing you can do. And so I booked Raphael and Trip Douglas to come on the show to talk about the Jazz Festival. And Raphael said, well, I'm real big into encouraging people to vote. I said, well, good. That'll be, we're talking about voting, and we'll do some music too, because that's wonderful. I encourage them to vote. It's not hard to do, is it?
No, it's not hard at all.
It's not exactly rocket science. Okay, so 51 and Harbor Drive, by the way, I must tell people, if they don't already know, when you're going north on 51 and you have to turn where the construction zone is, just take your time because you only have one little lane to go on right now. And when there's no traffic, fine. But when there's traffic, you really have to watch out because, I don't know if there's been any accidents there or not. I hope
have not. Actually, people have paid attention. But that construction project will be over soon, and we have additional turn lanes going to make the traffic movement much more efficient.
Yeah. So what's going to be, how's that going to work? So there'll be all the left turners going on to 51.
Yes.
Right. And then is there anything
we're stacking on 51, moving the lane over. You'll have 2 lanes turning right to go east on Lake Harbor Drive, and then more stacking, more lanes on the going to 51 from Lake Harbor.
I have to tell you, probably noticed this because you drive, as do we all. When you are waiting for a light, there's always the white marks to tell you where you can go. So you bring your car up, and you're getting in a left lane to go someplace, and to your right is a vehicle coming left from another side, perpendicular to you, and they'll turn left. But you have to get way back away from that white line, because if you don't, those people come flying around the corner, so they cut the corner, and I'm wondering, it's all over the place. I'm surprised that people are not smashing into each other. I'm glad they're not.
Sometimes we need to give driving lessons, but that's another story.
Well, sometimes I think that we need to have driver's ed in Mississippi is what I think. Mandatory, and there are a lot of people. But I think this will be so big that you don't have to worry about that. I hope.
I hope so.
I really do hope. So now 51, Jackson Street's going to be, that's a big deal. That is a big project.
One of the things that the city of Ridgeland has never had is the downtown. And so we're going to be turning Jackson Street into a downtown. We just received a $1.9 million grant to do a demonstration project on that road. What we're going to do is squeeze the lanes down. We're going to work on that where it's more pedestrian friendly, cycling friendly, business friendly, and try to get the through traffic and trucks and things to use the other major major thoroughfares. We built Lake Harbor going over the bridge over to Howland Colony.
Yeah.
We have Colony Park Boulevard. All those millions of dollars were spent to provide a way for through traffic to go, and now we're going to get this traffic off of Jackson Street and make it more what it needs to be.
Well, the thing about Jackson Street is interesting. Well, and this is going to go from 51 over to Sunnybrook Road.
That's right.
So I don't understand how to do the new pass through or whatever it is. Well, I don't know what you call it. It crosses over 51. Like, oh, okay, I don't know how to get onto it. I don't know what it does, but it's new. You know what I'm talking about, whatever it is.
You're talking about the Lake Harbor Bridge?
No, like it's a colony.
Oh, Colony Park Boulevard.
Yes. Yeah. Where does it start and where does it end? I don't even know.
It starts at Highway 51 and it goes all the way to Howland Colony Parkway.
Okay.
And you can get on the interstate from there, and you can get off the interstate there. So it's a very convenient thing for people that want to get off the interstate and get to Highway 51 and go north to Madison or up to Gluckstadt or whatever.
Yeah. By the way, that is a mayor who doesn't have any opposition either, by the way, Mayor Morrison,
That's
like you.
right.
And then the mayor in Clinton is all but set because Phil Fisher will be retiring, and this new mayor will come in there. So you all are the lucky ones.
Yeah, he was fortunate.
Yeah. Well, but about Jackson Street, the thing that fascinates me is on the north side, in the area that you're talking about, it looks so European. The buildings are right there next to the sidewalk, and then there's the street. So obviously, you're going to have to be locating on the south side more than anything, right?
Well, we'll be squeezing it in on both sides. There'll be ways to squeeze the lanes in shorter. And by the way, the architectural design, we put an ordinance in effect so those buildings would be built like that you would have them closer to the street, have parking in the rear, and that's the whole purpose of that.
It's good looking, but the other side of the street, it doesn't match. It needs.
Well, it's a little bit of a challenge over there, and one particularly because you're backed up to the Natchez Trace, and so you're having to squeeze in some things. But we are getting businesses building on that side also that are also going by the same requirements. So eventually, all of that will be looking very European.
Oh, cool.
Well, our turn of the century, we like to say the early 1900s.
Okay, that sounds good. Well, then get your horses and buggies out. Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. This time went by awfully fast, but I think we got in what we wanted to get. I wanted to hear about that, and you want to talk about all the stuff going by Costco. So lucky you. Did you ride your bike this morning?
I did not this morning, but I will be riding it later this afternoon.
30 miles?
Oh yeah, at least 30. Yeah.
Wow! Congratulations on that. That's amazing. You've really stuck with that.
Well, it's important to be in good health. That's my therapy, and that keeps your mind clear so you can do your work the way you need to do it.
I think we got some Little Women people coming on. Are they here? Oh, good. Okay. Yeah, we've got Aunt March, and we've got the professor from Little Women, Gene McGee. Thank you so much. Good luck
You're
with
welcome.
Ridgeland.
Thank you so much.
Come on over anytime. We'll be back. So now we are switching our gears. We're doing Little Women, and I have two people from the play. They have taken over New Stage Theater, and you open tonight. Right?
We open tonight.
I have the professor and I have Joe. I mean, such a sweet story about Professor and Joe. And I hope you all know the story of Little Women, right? Do they out there? Do you know it? You can call us up at 888-808-8637. You can text us at 601-987. I never remember this. 879-4395. That's 601-879-4395. And you can catch us online, supertalk.fm/Mary, in case you forget. So welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Out of towners, both in New York.
New York based, yeah.
Yeah.
New York
So
City.
how do you like life out in the boondocks?
Oh, I love coming back to Mississippi.
You've been here, right?
I've worked here a couple times, and I love coming back every single time I can.
Tyler Bellmon, you played the professor Bear.
Bear, yeah, that's
Bear.
correct.
Yeah, okay. I don't ever remember anybody saying his name. What was his first name? What is his first name?
Friedrich in the book,
Friedrich,
but in
okay.
our production, Fritz.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fritz, okay. And Kristina Swearingen, am I saying your name properly?
Yeah.
She is Joe. Have either of you played these parts before?
I have, actually. I got to play Joe in college about 4 or 5 years ago. And so it's been really fun to revisit that role and do it now that I'm a little bit older and have experienced a little bit more life and also live in New York now. So.
Yeah, really. So this is a musical. Mm-hmm. So obviously both sing.
Yep.
Right? Yes. So the first one that you did, Kristina, was it a musical or was it a...
Yeah, it was the same exact production.
Because you have different writers. I'm saying, I was going to get around to, so the lines are the lines the same?
Yeah, same script, same score, just a different company.
And she has an easy job. I had to learn everything fresh. She came in, she knew the role already.
Well, that's sort of the way it is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the way it was in the book. No, really. Have you ever done this before?
I have not done this show. I'm very excited to be diving into the world of Professor Bear and the world of the marches, really.
Well, yeah, that's quite a family.
Yeah.
Yes. Do you have Aunt March taking Meg to Europe?
She takes Amy.
Oh,
to
it's
Europe.
Amy.
Yeah.
So you do have that part.
It's mentioned. You don't ever see it, but it does happen.
okay.
It happens
Yes.
off stage.
Yes.
There's some things that happen off
Sneaky
stage.
things. Well, the whole thing. I remember I don't get to see the movie anymore just because TCM is no longer on basic cable. But no, they run that. I could watch it on somewhere. But anyway, the thing was that Joe and Laurie. Everybody thought Joe and Laurie were going to end up together, and surprise, surprise, they don't.
Yeah.
If you don't know that story, but it's not a heartbreaking thing necessarily because the professor stepped
Professor's
in.
there to step in.
Yes.
It depends on how you look at it. Like, I think some people really love Laurie and Joe as together, but I really love Joe and Professor Bear together. I think it's a good pairing.
Why? Because they have similar, same stuff in common, or what?
Well, I think that he Tyler said this the other day. He loves her for like her mind and who she is as a person, and not just like what she brings to the table in like a relationship, so to say.
Yeah, I think that there's so much to be said about Laurie and Joe's relationship, how it is, friendship, and it's a very strong relationship. I think, as we age, we tend to look for other things. And I think part of that is, someone who's going to be there, who is going to, really challenge you and make you a better person. And I think that that's what Bear brings out in Joe, and vice versa. I think Joe also does that for the professor.
Yeah, and so does the professor understand that there had been a sort of friendship? A friendship, yes, but there were hints of a relationship a long time ago. I mean, is that in it at all?
It's not really mentioned in our production, but I think that there is a world where Bear definitely understands that she's lived a full life that he is not a part of or doesn't know about. And it's the discovery and the fun of the whole show that we get to watch Joe interact with both of these people and see their relationships with both folks.
And how does he like the March family?
Oh, Bear is a fan of the Marches.
Because they're quite a family.
They are a family.
Yeah. And so, but he never knew Beth.
Never knew
so.
Beth. Never knew Beth.
Because the book was my Beth.
Yeah.
Well, there's a whole bunch of people in this, obviously, and I just thought it'd be interesting to go over some of these names for people. There's no test to read, but just to tell you where people are from. Okay, so Tyler Bellmon, you're the professor. You're from New York. Right. Alex Burnett is Laurie. He's from New York. Viola Dacus, I guess, Aunt March. Oh, yes. And Mrs. Kirk of Clinton. Mrs. Kirk from Clinton. I don't know who Mrs. Kirk was. Aunt March.
She's the boarding house owner. She's fun. She's a fun little Irish lady. Yeah.
Well, then Mary Frances Dean as Beth is from Flora. Ward Emling, well, he's Laurie, I guess it is. Is he Laurie?
He's Mr. Lawrence.
Yeah. Oh, Mr. Lawrence. Oh, the dad or grandfather with the piano or something.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yes.
Yeah, he's been in so many things. You all know he was the head of the film department here for the state of Mississippi for a long time. He's been in a lot of things. He was in Anne Frank and just about everything.
Ward's the best.
I love him.
He's everybody. Hosea Griffith as Mr. John Brooke is from Jackson. I don't know who that character is. John Brooke, who is he?
That's Meg's love interest.
Oh, okay. Michaela Lynn as Meg March. From Mize. Sarah Pygott as Amy is from Clinton. Jennifer Smith as Marmee is from Clinton. Kristina, you are Joe, of course. You're from New York, too. Cameron Vipperman as Clarissa Ensemble, whatever, North Carolina. And let me see. Jacob Hoyer is Braxton and the Ensemble from Oxford. And then Slade Haney is Rodrigo from Brandon.
Yes.
So you got a nice mix of locals and
Exactly.
and outsiders.
Yeah.
So how many hours and weeks you've been practicing, rehearsing?
We started rehearsal earlier this month. I think we've been in rehearsal for about 3 weeks.
3 weeks, yeah.
Sunday was our last dress rehearsal, and then we had today off. Yesterday
yes.
off.
Oh,
And
okay.
today we have opening.
Yeah, so you're opening tonight. At what time? And what time are you opening? 7:30? 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. I don't know. I just know my call time. I have to be there at 6.
Just
I
be
don't
there.
know.
Okay. Just be there and just talk. Sing, actually.
I was like, I just know I have to be there and have my mic on and ready to go by this time.
Ta-da! So y'all wearing individual mics, by the way, technically speaking. Everybody wears an individual mic. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they have a pack on the back or wherever you can put it in a corset. And then
Nice place to hide it.
Yeah, and then the wire comes up the back and around our ears, and we tape it to our faces and the back of our necks.
Interesting, taping it to your faces. Oh, that's really good.
You end up with a lot of mic tape residue.
Yeah, really. But oops. What's it like when you first got together and you did your first rehearsal? Like, you don't know who each other are particularly.
Yeah.
Well, some of the locals may know them, but like, who are you and how does this work? Was there? I guess you'd be sort of restrained, would be the word, because you wouldn't really let loose because you don't know who you're dealing with and that kind of stuff and what they're like. Or how does that work?
I think it's interesting. I think that there's no time, right? There's no time to like be restrained. You have to dive in full blow, full force, and connect with people. Like our director, Malika Quarterman, she brought us all together and really created a family dynamic from the jump. Like it was great the way that she's led the team. Kristina has also done that in a really great way. She is leading the show. She's the lead, but she's leading on and off stage. And I think that there's something so beautiful to watch her. I mean, I sat in her rehearsals and just watched her interact with Marmee and the three sisters and them create that family dynamic that you see on stage.
Yeah. Oh, how cool is that?
Yeah, we found ways to pull in different things for each family member. It's my favorite thing about the show that if you look for it, there's a forehead nod that I do with Marmee, and Beth and I lock fingers at one point, and Meg and I have this dance thing that we do with our hands, and Amy, we boop each other on the nose. So finding those things throughout the rehearsal period really helped as well with connecting.
And this stuff just happened. I have no idea. I've never done anything like that. The only acting I do is here.
It's play. It's fun. I think that we have the tendency to think about theater as a job, but the reason why I got into this, and I think the reason why we all got into this, was because it's fun and it's pretend. Like I was talking to somebody backstage the other night, and I was like, this is the silliest thing. We're getting paid to like put on costumes and pretend, and 350 people watch us do it. And we may fall flat on our faces, or we may like soar to great heights, right? Like,
and it's live, which, I understand live. That's certainly something I understand. But, if you're used to being on tape or film, woo, big surprise when you're live.
Yeah.
There's no turning around. You said it or you did it, But
there's something thrilling about it, though.
Oh, I guess. I'd be too scared to do it, to tell you the truth. I would have terrible stage fright. I would, because when you're doing, and I used to do television news too, when you do things like this, you just have your production people to see you. I mean, we know that they're out there because there's cameras there, for online and stuff like this. There's a camera there, and they're out there, but you don't see them. But to see them, be like, oh.
But that's the beauty of live theater. I think that honestly, I've been itching for an audience because we have run this show so much over the past week and a half that I think right now, I'm a firm believer that the audience breathes life into performances, and we don't truly get to see what the show is going to be until we get an audience there laughing, applauding, following the story with us in a fun way.
Well, can you ever lock in on people?
Oh yeah,
you do.
Yeah, I don't know what it's like in this theater, but I think in most theaters I've only been able to see a few rows back, and then after that it's dark because we've got lights in our face, and you're running around and you don't really have much time to be staring into the audience. But I definitely have had moments where I'm like, oh, I see so and so's here, or
somebody famous,
with people.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Just turn off your cell phone. That's all I ask. As long as the light from the phone is off, we're good.
Yeah, and you know what? And here in the studio, there's a certain host, me. I forget sometimes to turn it off.
Yeah,
because that's a mean thing to. But yeah, that's all they need to do is do that, huh?
Yeah.
Well, you've been here before, Professor. Yeah. So you find the audiences. How do you find the audience here in Mississippi? Pretty receptive.
Warm and lovely. I've only gotten great. There was a reason why I keep coming back here, and how
many things you've been in here?
3. This is my 3rd show here. I did Bright Star in 2019. I played Seymour in Little Shop of Horrors in 2021, and then now I'm back for this production.
People will say, you!
Exactly. I've got a beard this time around, so hopefully people will think I'm somebody else. But
They'll appreciate you.
I love coming back here. I think the artistic staff here is so passionate about what they do. The local talent here is so incredible, and it is such a playground for me to come to Mississippi, try my hand at a role that, to be perfectly honest, I was a little intimidated to play. I hadn't thought of myself playing this role.
But you did such a great job.
Thank you, Kristina.
Nice? We're going to take a break here. We'll be back on the other side with two of the members. We got Joe and the professor from Little Women. Stay where you are. The professor is in the house. The professor is in the house, and so is Joe March. Who am I talking about? You certainly know. Those are characters in Little Women, and it opens tonight at New Stage.
It opens tonight. Yeah. Tonight is Pay What You Can night, or Pay What You Want. I want to plug it hard because the theater would really like you to buy a ticket for $1,000 if you have it. But if you can only afford that $1. Yep. That's okay too. We're making theater accessible for everybody here in Jackson.
Well, that's new, I think. Have you ever done that before?
No, they did that the last time I was there. Yeah,
you did?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, I paid the ticket price, but somebody came in and paid a few bucks, and they were happy to be there. Yeah,
that's really nice, and you'll get your money's worth. I'll tell you, tell you that stuff. So wherever we were before, during the break, we were talking about sets. And I compared the set that you all had at New Stage for Sound of Music compared with the movie Sound of Music. And so this is a pretty set deep play, I would have to say. You got a lot of set stuff, right?
Yeah. I love the set, and I could talk about it for days.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's got the March house, so you see the attic and the the parlor.
Mm-hmm.
But there are times where we go to different places, like the boarding house in New York, or Aunt March's house, or sometimes even outside the March home.
Oh, wow.
And we have a projector screen that comes down, and it is designed to look like paper, and it is. They project Amy's drawings on it. And so there's watercolor drawings of Aunt March's house, of the boarding house, of the outside of our house. And oh my goodness, it's stunning and it's absolutely gorgeous. And I'm so excited for people to see it.
Is that unusual for plays to do all of that? Or isn't it usually just like one or two scenes or whatever and that's about it? Or is this common with projecting?
Oh no, there are definitely some shows. And you wouldn't necessarily know because a lot of times scenic designers pull in into one unit set, all the different locations, and you find different ways to set it. But I know there's shows like Ragtime that has like 17 locations.
Ooh.
And it's absolutely crazy.
So what do you have for the professor, Joe? What do you have for sets that you're?
Yeah,
you don't get to come to the house. The movie, right?
Yeah, exactly. I don't actually enter the March property until the last scene of the play.
Right.
But I have professor's table and a chair, and that's where I live for most of the play. It's really honestly the princess track. I kind of just get to kick back and hang out for most of the show.
There's also a slide stage that is used for that, so he gets to sit on a piece of the set or the floor that moves and slides from side to side. So a lot of his entrances, they've raised the stage for this production so that a lot of his entrances he just is sitting on the edge of a table or in the chair.
You're making
and
my job
slides
easy.
On.
I don't have to. I don't even have to walk on.
What do we see you sliding around?
I'm just sliding around.
We don't see you sliding, do we?
I mean, you see it pull on, but he's sitting in the chair as if nothing is happening.
Just being professorial.
Yep, exactly.
But you didn't live in the same apartment building that Joe did you?
Yeah, so there is a moment in the play when Joe moves to New York where Professor Bear and Joe actually live in the same boarding house, and that's where their relationship kind of blooms, and chaos ensues a little bit, and they get on each other's nerves, but that's love blooms from that moment.
Yeah. Love at first sight? I can't remember, but there was an attraction at first sight.
Attraction at first sight. I think from Professor Bear than from Joe. I think Joe's a little preoccupied by herself.
Yeah,
Joe's more worried about her book than.
Yes, yeah. My Beth, yes, she promotes the book, I guess, or gets it published. Is that it?
Yeah, she writes a novel towards the end
about her sister.
About her sisters, yeah, and sends it off to Professor Bear because there's no one whose opinion she respects more than his. And
how does he like it?
Loves it.
He thinks it's magnificent.
I do have that one.
Does he have an accent? Did he?
I am doing a German accent. Any German listeners out there might have
Also, mein
some...
Herr, ich kann ein bisschen Deutsch.
See, you're better than me.
Ja, ich lebe in Deutschland.
Ja.
Ja, ich lebte in Heidelberg.
Oh.
Ja, 17 Klingentheistraße. Bei dem Schloss.
I could take some lessons from you, I think. I think I could.
My dad was military.
Okay.
And we lived in Heidelberg. And my parents' attitude was, well, we don't want to live on base. You can, be around Americans the rest of your life. Let's live with the Germans. And we did.
Awesome.
You could just walk I had an American friend down the street. We took German in school. And you take it as a class in the military schools, in whatever country you're in. And so, it's this American friend. And we hang out at the castle. Well, just not much to do there because there was a tour, but we didn't take the tour because we considered ourselves native. So we didn't take the tour. You could go out on the balcony and overlook the university and the Rhine River and all this kind of stuff. Or there was this dance floor that was a giant keg, huge keg, and the top of it was the dance floor.
Wow.
Yeah, never saw anybody up there dancing because we didn't go there because when stuff was going on because that was for tourists. But anyway,
Right.
But I've kept up my German.
Well, I'm very impressed.
The last time I used it was on the show. We were talking about pronunciations, and I got irritated that people would say Angela Merkel instead of Angela.
Angela Merkel, yeah.
And so I said that, and then I said Angela Merkel ist eine schlechte Frau. And you know what that means?
No.
Angela Merkel's a bad woman.
I got woman.
Well, I tested out with one of the members of the audience, so I know speaks German, and she said, "Yeah, that's right." But anyway, so do you speak German at all?
I do not speak German at all.
Where's your accent? Let's hear your accent.
Oh! I'm not gonna. Don't put me on the spot right now. Just a normal.
Say, Joe, it's nice to meet you. It's good to meet you.
You have literally any of your lines. I mean,
Miss March, since we arrived here 6 weeks, is it? You shout, you rant, you disrupt the whole order of this boarding house. that is my attempt at a German accent. It's probably not great, but it's
just good.
It's fine.
It's just good.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah, we also had a German exchange student live with us for a year, and she was supposed to. Well, she grew up in Kazakhstan, then they went to northern Germany, so she spoke Russian and German.
Oh, wow.
And she came here. She was supposed to be fluent. Well, all she could say would be like, water bottle, right? And I said she was supposed to go to Hattiesburg, and we were going to hold it for 2 weeks. And I said, we can't send her to Hattiesburg. Nobody down there will know how to speak German. How rude could I be? But anyway, so we kept her, and all really just flowed out of me. And I finally said after a couple of days, Olga, we have to speak English, and I have to. And so by the time she left here, though, she went to school and everything, Northwest Rankin, she was fully trilingual, and she wanted pronunciation and grammar because, like, her Swedish friend would say, "Let's go to Zagop and buy some clothes." And I said, "That's that's not what we want to say." Stuff like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's good though. Had you known to do a German accent before?
So when I auditioned for this production, I got some instruction that they would like to hear a German accent. I had about 24 hours to put myself on tape, do it, send it in to Francine and Malika, who's directing, and
yep.
I apologized for my attempt at that. And then since then, I listened to a lot of actually podcasts that with Germans who were speaking English just to try and emulate some of the sounds that they were doing. So that was sort of how I got into
That's
that.
what it is. It's imitation. Now, Joe is, Joe, he's the only one with an accent.
Yeah.
In the play, right?
I think the hardest thing is that I am also from the South. I grew up in Mobile, Alabama, and the hardest tendency is now that I'm back in the South is that there are certain words that come out that can be very Southern, and so I have to clock that because the March family lives in Massachusetts. So
you don't want to say who's your mom and them. You don't want to
you don't want to say y'all, all those fun things. So I definitely have to be aware of that. And make sure that those moments don't slip while I'm on stage.
Well, I was told when I first moved here that I had a Michigan accent. We were told up there that we don't have an accent. Right. But, we sort of have a Fargo. It's like this, and I never knew this, I have a cousin, Mary, I made you a cherry pie. I'm like, oh, my Lord. Did I talk like that? My husband was a native who I married. He said, yeah. And he would say that whenever I would talk with my mother, not with my dad so much, but with my mother, I would come away doing some of that. And I never even picked that up in my mother because I pick up accent stuff.
I do that, too.
I wasn't aware of that. But now though, the last time I was in Michigan, I had to get out of there. Those people just so it was so nasal and so just annoying to listen to. So couldn't wait to get south where people are more refined in the way they speak. Honestly, that's the truth. That's absolutely the truth. So you don't want to get mixed up in a play or something and forget your accent or
Exactly.
doing something like that.
Exactly.
Do you ever forget? This is such a dumb question, but do you ever forget your lines?
Oh,
Yes.
gosh, all the time.
Oh, you do. Right?
Yeah, there's been a few times in the last week where I was so in the moment of whatever was happening on stage, and I completely forgot where I was in the song, and I was like, can somebody help?
It happens. I mean,
Solos? Are you doing? Do you do solos?
Yeah, I have a lot of text in this show.
Oh, okay. And duets and chorus too, right?
Yeah.
All right. So,
Definitely.
Professor, you sing? Do you?
I do. I have a
What
number.
professor do you sing?
I do sing. I sing. I have a number in Act 2, which is basically Professor Bear's soliloquy, and then I have a duet with Kristina here at the end of the show.
Oh, yeah, because that is where it happens.
Proposal, yeah.
Yeah, coming down in the snow.
Spoiler
Do the projections have snow and all that stuff on the ground?
There's rain for the end, because the chapter in the last chapter in the book is called "Small Umbrella in the Rain," and that's actually the title of our duet. And there's a moment where it rains a little bit, and so we have an umbrella that we stand under. And
Truly.
well, not truly.
real rain. It's projection,
It's
but
projection,
there is rain happening around us.
Now we got to get out of here. We got about 30
All right.
seconds left. Okay, Little Women starts tonight at New Stage Theater. Runs for how long? How many weeks?
Runs till April 6th.
Oh, great.
And you can call the box office at 601-948-3533 or go to their website, newstagetheater.com, and that's TRE at the end, to buy tickets.
Theater, yes, because people TRE. What do you mean by that? We know what you mean by that. Well, congratulations for for getting the gig and do well. I'm sure you'll
so
have a
much.
blast doing it.
Thank you so
All
much.
right, we'll see everybody for Pay What You Can night tonight.
Okay, good luck. Break a leg. But yeah, see y'all on Friday.